in Luke, it tells us that Jesus sat down, which in their day was a way of signaling, I'm about to teach. So at this point, and I won't make you do it, when Jesus sat down, they would have all quickly stood up, and they would have been ready and on their toes and trying to get a sight line between the big round Jewish beards in front of them. And at this point, Jesus pulls out the scroll of the prophet Isaiah, a book that's still in our Old Testament. And he unrolls the scroll. It's the longest of the scrolls. And he gets to this place in Isaiah, and Luke tells us that he begins to read these specific passages from the book that say this, quote, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." And then right after this, he rolls the scroll back up. All eyes are right on him because he has just read a passage that is clearly looking forward to the day when the Messiah would come, the anointed one would come, who would come and establish God's reign on earth, God's kingdom, the kingdom of heaven right on earth. This was something that they had been looking forward to. Jesus chooses to read this passage, and at just the moment that you could have heard a pin drop, Jesus then says, "Today, these words are fulfilled in your midst." Whoa. I mean, this is a gutsy move Jesus is making. It's very clear. He is saying, I am the anointed one. I am the one who is to come, who is going to bring God's reign to this earth, to put all things right. This is what he is claiming. And you would think that this would have been an exciting day for the people who heard what Jesus was saying. I mean, they should have been doing backflips and somersaults. I mean, this is the climax of all the childhood bedtime stories that they had grown up hearing. Like, this is the hope of Israel, that someday God will finally send his Messiah and he will restore all things. They should have been so thrilled. And instead, this ends up being a story of people completely missing it. It says that, after an awkward moment or two of silence, someone in the back of the room pipes up and they say this in the text, "Isn't this the carpenter? And isn't this Mary's son and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? Aren't his sisters like right here with us?" In other words, Jesus, have you forgotten that you're one of us, bro? Like, you grew up in small town Hickville, uneducated. Yeah, you're one of us. You walk like us. You have our accent. You talk like us. You lived our lifestyle. Have you forgotten this? And the vibe in the room, the text summarizes, it says, "And they took offense at him." They were offended that Jesus, one of them, had broken out of the mold in such an extreme way and was claiming to be a part of something so unique. And they were offended by what he was calling them to, and because of who he was. And the storyline concludes with Jesus responding in this way. He says to them, "Only in their own towns, among their relatives, and in their own homes are prophets without honor." And he could not do any miracles there except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. Now, essentially, this is a story of people who sat in church week after week after week and still completely missed what God was wanting to do in their life. And our task is to look at this story and to understand why that was, to make sure that we aren't doing the same thing. And there's something that Jesus points to about the why of them missing it that touches on a theme in Jesus' teaching that's one of the most disturbing themes of Jesus' teaching. It's one of the most unsettling themes of Jesus' teaching. It has to do with the interplay of faith and family and the way that Jesus talks about. Right here in the text, he says it's prophets that it's always their own family and their own homes that they are most rejected. And why is that? There's this interesting interplay between faith and family and the way that Jesus talks about it.